Hey friends, Pastor Bill Walden here with Build Up the Church. This is a word for March 6th, 2024, and this is out of Mark chapter 11. In Mark chapter 11, we see Jesus still in Jerusalem. It's the last week of his life. During the day, he is going into the temple area. He's there to teach the common man. But we see the religious leaders trying to catch him in his words, trying to cause him to stumble, trying to make him look bad in public, that he might be discredited. And so they come to him and they're asking some questions, but they are questions that are asked with already their minds made up about what the answer should be. This is insincere questioning. It's hypocritical questioning. The word hypocrite means a play actor, somebody who pretends. And in the Greek theater in those days, if you were an actor, you would wear a mask in front of your face to portray or to kind of demonstrate the character that you were playing. Hypocritos, I believe, is the word. So hypocrite, a pretender. A Christian is not a hypocrite if they make a mistake or they fail, unless they're pretending to be perfect. So it has nothing to do with performance. It has everything to do with intention. So these men are hypocrites. They don't really want to know truth. What they are hoping to do is to pose a question in order to discredit Jesus. So today, many people ask, if you're a follower of Jesus and there's somebody that has already made up their mind that they're not going to follow Jesus and that he's not who he said he was and that Christianity is just mythology or something like that, they may ask you questions, but it's not with a view often, or may I even say usually, it's not with a view towards gaining truth. Oftentimes, it's with a view towards discrediting you. I don't mind personally honest dialogue. If somebody said, hey, listen, I read in the Old Testament that Moses led the people across the Red Sea. Is there any archaeological evidence for that? If somebody's really asking about that, I'm happy to try to do some research and make some suggestions. But if they're asking with a view towards showing me how foolish I am for believing the Bible, well, that's hypocritical questioning, I believe. It would be better just to pose it as a statement. Hey, Bill, I don't believe Christianity. And for instance, there's no evidence of Moses and those millions of Jews crossing the Red Sea, that kind of thing. So that's my take on that. Let me read the passage. It says, then they came again to Jerusalem, and as he was walking in the temple, the chief priests, the scribes, and the elders, they came to him. And they said to him, by what authority are you doing these things? Jesus was teaching, Jesus was healing, Jesus had stopped temporarily the sacrifice at the temple because of the money changers and those who were crowding out the Gentiles in the court of the Gentiles. So who gave you the authority to do these things? Who do you think you are? We want to know why you think you can do these things. But Jesus answered and said to them, I will ask you one question, then answer me, and I will tell you by what authority I do these things. So if you really want to know, let me ask you a question first. The baptism of John, so John the Baptist, was it from heaven or from men? Answer me. So Jesus isn't asking them what they thought about John or what they thought about how he did things or whatever. He just simply said, the baptism of John, what he was doing in baptizing people in the Jordan River there, did God send him to do that, or was that just man's idea? And they reasoned among themselves, saying, if we say from heaven, in other words, God directed John to do that, he will say, then why did you not believe in him? So they would prove themselves to be wrong. They would show that they were wrong. They didn't believe or they didn't obey when God sent John to baptize them, if they confessed that answer. But if we say from men, it was just John's idea or a bunch of guys got together and they just made up this plan. If we say from men, they feared the people, for all counted John to have been a prophet indeed. The public opinion was, oh, he was a prophet. So they answered and said to Jesus, we do not know. They had their opinion, but they wanted public approval more than they wanted truth. They wanted to not lose face in front of the people. If they say, oh, John, he was a phony and he was just some self-proclaimed prophet, he really wasn't from God, then suddenly the public turns against them. And they desperately did not want that to happen. So they're not really looking for truth. They're looking to gain advantage over Jesus. This is hypocritical questioning. And Jesus answered and said to them, "Neither will I tell you by what authority I do these things." You're asking me a question. You're not honest. So let me ask you a question. And they weren't honest. And they very clearly here confessed, kind of behind, in whispers and that kind of thing, behind closed doors, you might say. They confessed amongst themselves, he's got us. So we're just going to pretend that we don't know. But they already had an opinion. Why not just be a man, be courageous, follow through with your conviction and say what you think? Instead, they were trying to catch Jesus, but in essence, he trapped them. If you're a follower of Jesus, we should engage in vigorous conversation, and intellectual conversation, and heartfelt, sincere conversation. But there may come times when people just want to catch you. They're not asking you questions about Jesus because they're interested. They're asking questions about Jesus to disqualify you. And many times, even if you gave them a great answer, they've already made up their mind. So essentially, it's a waste of time in that degree, and you'll have to figure out how far to go with people like that. But Jesus said in Matthew chapter 7, don't cast your pearls before swine. At some point, you're bringing holy things to people that just would rather just turn around and eat you up. And so be wise about not getting pulled in too much to hypocritical questioning. And if you're a person that does hypocritical questioning, why don't you just ask honest, heartfelt questions about Jesus and see if somebody can give you some good answers? And then the best thing you could do actually is let Jesus speak for himself. Read the Gospel of John, and Jesus will meet you there. So thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.